Even BBC News is now tired of telling lies about African great leaders Captain Ibrahim Traore and the leaders of the Sahel region. BBC wrote, why Burkina Faso's junta leader has captured hearts and minds around the world. Remember, this article is also from BBC Today when they wrote that Burkina Faso military accused of unaliving more than 100 civilians. They call it massacre, and they say that it was Fulanese, which means that the army of Burkina Faso were targeting the Fulanese, which is a lie, by the way. The same BBC continued to lie in the same article about Captain Ibrahim Traore. Even they want to tell the truth that the whole world love Captain, but BBC still downplays, the love of Captain and the love of the Sahel leaders that the Africans and the entire world has for these people. BBC wrote that Captain Ibrahim Traore is using the media or is using the past to build his popularity, which means that by using the words like Thomas Sankara. And they continue to lie to say that, he knows the art of politics, how to make a nation completely traumatized by war feel there is a better future. He is really good at that game, which means that for some reasons they are saying that Captain Ibrahim Traore is just using a propaganda so that the people are going to love him. In reality, that is not true. And BBC continue to say that his messages reflect the age we are living in, when many Africans question the relationships with the West and why there is still so much poverty in such resource-rich continent, she said, which means the reporter. So this is exactly what Captain Ibrahim Traore was saying, that why are we so rich but we are living in a poor state in Africa? Why? Something is wrong. These are the questions Captain is also asking himself and other young Africans. That is why we are supporting him. So when he came to power, he knows that the reason why we are poor, even though our continent is so rich, because of the outsiders, the Western imperial powers and the Western corporations. As soon as he came to power, he cut ties with those people that keep us on chains, that keep exploiting our people, our women, our children, assassinating our great leaders. So in order for Africa also to be like Europe, then he should have to cut, or he has to cut, all the ties with the imperial powers that want to keep us on chain. That is why Africans love him, BBC. And the example is Niger. So when Niger was under France, or not only under France, but when we had leaders, who are giving everything to France, they are puppets. Niger was losing billions of US dollars. So once Niger also kicked out France, the imperial powers, instead of making from selling their uranium only 1 billion a year, Niger is now making 300 billion a year. So this is why Africans are poor, and this is why Captain is loved by the African people, because he is telling the youths what our problems are and how to solve them. If there is also a problem, he will come back to tell the people that these are our problems and how can we solve them. That is why we love these three leaders. He is not like these other leaders right here, the presidents of Nigeria, William Ruto, and these other leaders, whereby we are having terrorism in Nigeria, but we have oil also and other mineral resources. Most of them are owned by the British. Could you imagine? That is why we are poor, Africa is poor, and Captain knows that. That is why he kicked out the French and other Western companies outside of his country. Mali followed the same, Niger also followed the same. But Nigeria says, no, we are democratic, the so-called democracy. That is why the people of Nigeria are suffering under Boko Haram, under terrorism. So yeah, BBC, at least these are some of the reasons why the whole world loves this guy, and we will protect him by any means. Your propaganda, like this one here, is not going to work anymore by manipulating the people to hate their own leaders who are in fact working for their own interests. So long life to these Sahel leaders, Assimi Goita, Captain Ibrahim Traore, and Tiani, for giving the African people the best, for working for the interests of their own people and kicking out the imperial powers. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think?
Enemies have started their propaganda again. BBC News, take a look at this. They have started trying to paint Ibrahim Traore black against his people. They said again that Burkina Faso military unalived 100 civilians in Burkina Faso recently. They have started from that Ibrahim Traore is using Burkina Faso gold to protect himself, to that Burkina Faso military unalived 100 civilians in Burkina Faso. They are doing everything possible right now to paint Ibrahim Traore black against his people. Recently, Burkina Faso military ambushed terrorists, their hideout, unalived many of them. Take a look at this picture. These pictures right now you are seeing. Do you think that civilians live in this kind of place? Take a look at the weapons. Do you think that civilians has access to weapons? Take a look at the guns they recovered from the terrorists, unalive many of them in Sahel. Just because Burkina Faso is defeating the terrorists in Sahel, terrorists that Western leaders are sponsoring. Now BBC have come again with their propaganda. They have tried and they failed. They are using another method right now, but this method, we already know this method is no longer working. Yes, we already know this method. Take a look at. Thank God we can now get information, real information from Facebook, from TikTok, from YouTube. We're no longer depending on this Western media, David's Western medias to give us information. Unlike before, they used to paint, do their propaganda of a thing, paint white, black, and our people will believe it. Right now, we are more wiser. They cannot deceive us again. They are doing everything possible, as you can see. This is how Western leaders operate, using this their Western media to propagate fake narratives. Take a look at what is happening.
Dear Mr. President, dear friends, we are very glad to see you. And at the beginning of our conversation, I would like to once again thank you for your decision to take part in the events marking the 80th anniversary of victory in the Great Patriotic War. I remember our constructive and productive conversation in 2023 when you first visited our country to participate in the Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg. Your current visit to Russia for the celebration of the 80th anniversary of victory is highly symbolic and reflects the friendly nature of Russian-Burkinabe relations. I would also like to recall the contribution of your country to the defeat of German Nazism and its satellites. Around 30,000 residents of what is now Burkina Faso fought as part of the anti-Hitler coalition forces in the formations of Fighting France under the leadership of the legendary son of the French people, General Charles de Gaulle. Today, we are united by the common goal of fighting terrorism and extremism. We will continue to assist the Republic in restoring law and constitutional order and provide support in suppressing radical groups that remain in certain regions of Burkina Faso. Over the past 2 years, we have achieved significant progress in developing mutually beneficial cooperation in various areas. At the end of 2023, after more than a 30-year hiatus, the Russian embassy in Ouagadougou resumed its work. A regular political dialogue has been established. Although the volume of trade is still very modest, it is nonetheless increasing, and this is a good trend, which of course must be maintained. We must work together to further strengthen economic ties and diversify mutual trade. In this regard, the Economic Days of Burkina Faso in Russia, held in October 2024, proved useful. A high-level Burkinabe delegation, headed by the Prime Minister, took part in them. The issue of creating an intergovernmental commission is being worked out. At the end of last year, a relevant working group was already formed. We will continue to assist your country in training national personnel. In 2024 to 2025, the quota of Russian government scholarships for Burkinabe citizens has been more than doubled. This year, we are ready to accept 27 more students from your country at the expense of the federal budget. In total, around 3,500 Burkinabe citizens have received education in our country. The promotion of cultural and humanitarian ties is supported by the Russian House operating in Ouagadougou since 2024, where, in particular, Russian language instruction has been organized. There is great potential in cooperation in the fields of healthcare and sanitation. Very recently, on April 24th to 25th, Ms. Popova visited Ouagadougou. We are ready to conduct joint scientific research, develop laboratory infrastructure, and train specialized professionals. We also attach priority importance to providing humanitarian assistance to Burkina Faso. Last year, we sent you 25,000 tons of wheat free of charge. This month, a large shipment of other foodstuffs will arrive in Ouagadougou. We value the close coordination with Burkina Faso on the international stage, including within the framework of the United Nations and other international organizations. A new and useful format of cooperation has been the consultations between Russia and the Confederation of Sahel States. The first such meeting took place at the level of foreign ministers in Moscow in April of this year. It seems to me that we have good prospects in many areas. Some of them we have the opportunity to discuss today.
Because now they have been kicked out, now they are crying human rights, human rights. Yeah, I'm tired though. I'm tired, really. I'm tired of these.
Burkina Faso.
Because nobody believes the media anymore. Yeah. Nobody does.
Africa needs a fake news website
where we can spread our own propaganda, right?
Yeah,
we have to do that.
Yeah, our own BS.
Yes. Yeah, so that way all the world can access that website and see what's true and what's not true.
No, we have our own.
We had
they had one. They had some, and then they took them down right before he got in the presidency. They ended last year. They took it down.
We had one which was called Africa something.
You're talking about, yeah.
And because it was promoting more patriotism in Africa and supporting Russia, what they are doing with us in China.
The question that Africa needs to ask America is how many Africans have you unalived and still unalived to this day?
I mean, that is exactly what the forum was asking.
Yeah.
That TV channel was asking exactly the same. And now, because it was asking those hard questions, that TV was branded a Russian propaganda channel.
They were calling it a terrorist.
Exactly. It was supporting T groups.
Yeah.
So they wanted to take it down.
Farrakhan once said that America's in no moral position to judge. So
he did say
Farrakhan said that. He said that America's in no moral position to judge another country. And
exactly.
Like he was referring to one country that was only 35 years old at the time. And he said that,
it was Nigeria.
Right. He said, well, that country's only 35 years old, so whatever that you're saying that they did, compare it to what America has already did to us over 400 years. So there's no way to compete.
Because the TV host was branding Nigeria the most corrupt country on earth.
Right.
He was.
Yeah. And Farrakhan, of course, fired back and said, that's not true, even if they're corrupt. So what? Right?
Yeah, right.
Because,
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
what
he said, so what? Let us, like he said, meaning Black Americans or African Americans, let us go teach them how to manage their stuff, right? But you don't have moral standing to speak on it. He should.
Right.
Right? And this is exactly what happens all the time, because the Africa channel, which was actually promoting more African patriotism and of course promoting our allies, it was branded a Russian mouthpiece, right? And America wanted to take it down. And that's what, and now they're giving us back BBC, which is actually spreading misinformation, and nobody is saying anything.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's saying anything. And it's literally spreading misinformation about the continent.
Well, that's, all that usually happens when something, when a plan is already in motion. So they put that out there. They put that out there.
Somebody wrote it on the chat, African stream.
The YT people have a history of wanting to be the saviors of the world. They think that they're the saviors. Nobody can fix anything but them. So that's where that's coming from.
But look at what they have done around the world. They have not fixed nothing. And anything that they have fixed, they have turned back to tear it down.
He put all those Mexicans out of America to only bring in the YT South American. 8,000 of them. Some came this morning, I heard. But 8,000 South Americans, he gave them...
The Afrikaans, right?
That's South Africans.
Yeah.
No, don't call them Africans, dear. Please, don't call them Africans.
Next week, y'all.
That's what they're not, it's not called Afrikaans, like KA? At 8?
No,
that's what they call it.
That's what they call them that, because if you call them that...
Well, what do y'all call them? What do y'all call them?
We call them... Listen.
They call them colonizers.
We call them colonizing settlers of European...
They call them settlers.
Okay, because I'm gonna have to spread that throughout the black community.
Settlers?
South Africans were telling me these are our people, literally saying, like, don't we see each other as one? We're the rainbow nation. That's what they told me.
No. Don't call them Afrikaners, because they will get used to that and they will start claiming indigenous to Africa. They are not Afrikaners.
Okay, wait. So are they settlers? Are they settlers or are they colonizers?
Yeah, so they settled first.
But we look at that as two different things.
Right, so they settled first.
When they came to South Africa,
why would they just go back to their country?
So all
when they came to South Africa,
people go back to their country.
Can I explain? Because I'm here now. Can I just explain quick? Let me just explain. So when you go to places, there's areas, they're called Settler Highway or Settlers Park. So they call themselves settlers. They settled in certain areas and then they colonized other parts of the country. So, but they're more settlers than colonizers. Colonizers, they came, they kind of did deals with the tribes, bad deals. They didn't force anyone to work. They compensated for work. It wasn't a lot, but they compensated. It was just different than what happened in the Americas and.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Then that's a settler. That's a settler, not a colonizer.
Someone in the comments said they're Dutch Europeans. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, they're Dutch.
Yes,
they're
that's
descendants
true.
from the Dutch. The Dutch.
So that's what we're going to call them.
Bro, George, just a second. They did not compensate anybody because the longer they stayed,
South Africa,
they started.
The only people they didn't compensate was the Indians and the colored people. They were slaves. But outside of Indians and the coloreds, they were compensated. The Zulu people did not work for free. The Tswana, Xhosa, Spedi, Sotho, all them, they did not work for free, bro. They weren't working for free. I don't know. They weren't people who lay over.
So they gave them that land, or they bought? Because I saw that documentary where they saying that they bought that land.
Yeah, it's just bad deals are early, super early, where people weren't even they didn't even perceive what they were even talking about. And then by the time it got to a point, they started pushing them into these Bantu stands, which were these areas, the townships, the Ekasis. They pushed them into areas, and then that's when they were like, oh, well, you can't come in our area because we own this area, so you only can come in this area with pass. You only can come and eat at this restaurant during these times of the day. That's when they started creating their form of Jim Crow laws, which are called apartheid. So, yeah, the settlers, they got the land through bad deals and then enforced rule on the lands that they acquired.
Somebody said they took it.
No, they didn't take it by